One of the many amazing things you viewers have done for me is given me the opportunity to travel. I've visited parts of the world that aren't flat and full of cows, and I've been able to see beaches besides, as Charles Barkley puts it, that dirty-ass Galveston water.
We're not even gonna sit into Cancun. We're gonna sit into Galveston with that dirty-ass water be washing up on the shore. You people think they're in the beach.
And I've loved it. If I could take the sound of waves crashing against a pebbled shore as a supplement, or bottle the crisp, cold air whistling through Rocky Mountain pines and hit that like a vape pen, I'd probably get away with seeing my therapist a lot less. Which is to say, I completely understand the appeal of van life, to be able to hoist your metaphorical anchor and go wherever your non-metaphorical wheels can take you without leaving home behind. But the popularization of van life content over the past few years has raised some really interesting ethical questions. For instance, how many people is too many living in one van? A dink and their foster dog? Sounds pretty cozy. But what if we add another person? Another? How about a few more? Well, as long as every one of those people is an adult capable of consenting to snuggling up like so many sardines in a sexy, slimy sardine can, I don't really see a problem with it. But as with most things in life, this gets a little more complicated once children are involved. Last year, I made a video about a concerning type of content interrupting my feed of sepia-toned travel vlogs set to calming music and tan-tattooed women decorating decommissioned kidnapper vans that I used to let my brain wander the country while my feet stayed firmly planted under the desk at my 9 to 5. Children carted around like carry-on luggage with less square footage than our country's worst criminals, while TikTok users were voyeurs to their monetized misery. Children whose comfort and privacy were sacrificed for a new, groovy, alternative lifestyle their parents had chosen for them with no ability to opt out. That video has more views than anything else I've posted to YouTube. It basically jump-started the channel and is the reason I finally left my respectable grown-up job to do this reputation-ruining bullshit for a living.
Please like and subscribe to keep a future unemployed influencer off the streets and out of your neighborhood.
But that was 2023 Funky Frogbait. 2024 Funky Frogbait is smarter, stronger, hotter, has more subscribers and much cooler hair, so I'd like to take another crack at this topic. While I still like my original video, there's a lot I would have done differently, and today I want to take a more empathetic approach with some extra cinematic flair. So I hope you've grabbed some snacks and emptied your bladder, because we have a long road ahead.
Wait, hold on, wait.
But first, a quick pit stop for today's sponsor, Pi.org. Look, everyone hates ads. I can see your finger hovering over the screen to skip ahead right now. But what if I told you Pi is a free extension that not only blocks ads, but also gives you the option to be paid for the ones you do see? If you opt in to view a limited number of approved ads, you can receive rewards as you browse. With Pi, you can say goodbye to annoying cookie pop-ups or anti-ad block notifications. I love how if you turn on visual mode, you can literally watch the ads disappear off your screen. You can also hover over the pinned extension at the top of the page to see just how much visual space Pi is saving and how many ads have been blocked. Most shopping extensions aren't compatible with ad blockers, but Pi's shopping extension allows you to get cash back and automatically applies coupons at over 10,000 online stores. A perfect way to save on last-minute Christmas shopping. If you want to block ads and get paid, go to pi.org/funkyfrogbait or click the link in the description to start using Pi for free today.
Oh my god.
There's so much space for activities. You could fit like at least 3 children's bedrooms in this bad boy. First, let's revisit some of the families that I covered back in 2023. Bright and Peachy was an account that I used as an example at the beginning of my video. Because I'm an idiot. That's right, guys. I f***ed up. Like,
right out of the gate. At the time I was gathering clips, this TikTok had been re-uploaded all over the internet without context and used by multiple content creators as evidence of child abuse even after the family had deleted it. Instead of confirming this for myself, I blindly believed that the family lived in the van full time and didn't realize I was wrong until several months later.
But apparently a lot of people missed it, that this is our camper van that we use for obviously camping, road trips, traveling. So the kids' bunk beds do look a little bit smaller from the outside because we had to put railings on them because our kids are little toddlers and they will roll out of bed if not.
This is a great time to introduce the following handy acronym. Always assume secondary sources are suspect, aka ass. As in my research skills, we're ass! This family lives in a normal wheelless house most of the time, and even though these little boys seem to be dragged through the wilderness enough that Mother Nature is co-parenting them, they should not have been included. And that's my bad. I would hope that I've gotten much better at vetting my sources before including them in these larger conversations. I considered chopping their section out of my original video, but that just seemed like a really lame response after all of this time, so instead, let it stand as a testament as to why you should not believe everything a YouTuber tells you. Go leave a hate comment. Say Funky Frog Bait sucks. Add research under that video. Go, go, go! I also talked about an account called the Wild Thorn Baileys who blocked me. Thank God. Time to put that computer engineering degree gathering dust in my parents' attic to use. Yeah, blocking is more of a symbolic gesture more than anything else. This family actually upgraded their living situation not long after my post. Wow, that looks fancy. I'm sure the kids have so much more.
And now into the kids' room.
Well, I guess it's, technically better, but those mattresses are not beating the Ozempic allegations. If your mattress is thin enough to fit into a pizza box after being folded twice, you have some very expensive surgeries to look forward to in your 50s. That's about 2 inches of cushioning between their malleable child spines and solid plywood.
And you've got the kitty litter and everything like that, but the legs come in and that sits flush with the RV.
The Bailey family has been traveling for 4 years, and their children are still sleeping on thin mats with zero privacy. But beware, Mama Bailey likes to respond to criticism with slam poetry.
I'm told my kids will hate me as teenagers because we choose to connect instead of feeding the monster of disconnect. Opinions based on their own reality of being raised in disconnect.
I've stood inside houses that certainly were not homes, so please tell me, what is a home? I am not homeless. I am home more. I am more at home than I was ever before. So my home is small, my bills are less. My days are so full, being what you call homeless.
You have been warned. The Party of Six was another family account that I covered, and they also blocked me. This is starting to hurt my feelings. They've been living in their van full time since 2020 with 2 of their 4 children on a pull-out couch, and since my video back in April of 2023, 2 of their 4 children are still on a pull-out couch, which, I don't know, maybe it's mom and dad's turn to sleep in the living room for a bit? Limited sleeping accommodations are usually the focus of the backlash these van life parents receive. These vehicles are designed to be short-term living spaces, not permanent homes. The Little Orphan Annie starter pack is perfectly sufficient for a summer's vacation, not to grow up in. For van life kids, the vacation never ends. Which is a lot less fun than it sounds.
So this is the kids' bedroom. I find it really spacious.
It's an uncomfortable enough situation that a teenager might even request to stay in a hotel room as a birthday gift, something that an account called Family of Nomads self-reported before quickly taking down the video.
For Addison's 15th birthday, the only thing they wanted was to go to a hotel.
A lot of comments described these kids as blessed or lucky to be able to travel, calling me privileged for even considering that their situation could could be potentially abusive. And yeah, it's super cool that they get to visit like every national park in the US, but it would also be really cool if their bedroom didn't have that galvanized square steel setup. So, is every child who lives in a mobile home being abused? Absolutely not. According to manufactured housing surveys conducted by the US Census, an estimated over 20 million people live in trailer parks, and a lot of those people are parents doing their best. I personally know people who have had to give up housing to move into trailers due to financial hardship, and they didn't whip out the vlogging equipment to celebrate. In contrast, many of these full-time van life TikTok parents gleefully describe how they left their jobs, sold their homes to uproot their families, bragging about the comfort and stability they sacrificed when it's their children's future being thrown under the bus. Or the van.
Hi there, we're the Jones family, and we sold everything to focus on what really matters to us.
They glamorize and promote a living situation that so many families have been forced to accept. And I guess that just riles up the redneck in me. I focus the majority of my original video on the Bethune family, a family with 2 parents, 3 children, and for some f***ing reason, 4 dogs, all living in a small bus. And sometimes an even smaller van.
So essentially we're going to show you how we fit 5 humans and 4 dogs in that little van right there.
It is human Tetris.
It's quite an engineering marvel, if I do say so myself.
We had found a new property manager, and at this point our tenants were refusing to pay rent.
They're still very active on their YouTube channel after leaving TikTok, with the mother recording every single moment of their lives on a much nicer camera than I have. What the f*** is up with that? Their Walmart vlogs have better production quality than my full-length video essays. I need to step up my game. The Bethune parents made a video last year explaining why they retreated from short-form content, and I actually agree with a lot of their points about how the only short-form posts that tend to be consistently successful are those that incite controversy, and how comment sections tend to be much more aggressive because viewers are basing their opinions on a few seconds of footage.
And I just feel like short form, and this is to the platforms too, allow people to be bullies, to be trolls, to hurt other people purposefully, and there's no recourse with that.
But this is also just a convenient way to write off any and all criticism as hate. In fact, you'll notice that a lot of these van life accounts seem to have more posts about their haters than about living in a van, as if they weren't the ones to invite strangers behind the wheel.
We don't want to put out triggering content, especially ones that we had to use our kids to gain views. One person even remarked sexually about Molly, our daughter.
They admit to purposely feeding the algorithm more content of their children to anger viewers and bait engagement. They admit to exposing their children to predators, but instead of pumping the brakes when they started getting creepy comments, they just switched gears. Using your children for content is not unique to van life families, but what I think makes these situations so uniquely sinister is that these kids are isolated in a tiny living space with nowhere to escape the camera, not even a door to dramatically slam so they can relieve a little pubescent angst. A curtain is just not the same. I can't imagine how deeply humiliating it would be to have your childhood documented without your consent and know that it'll be in circulation on the internet forever. But we as viewers are kind of placed in this weird conundrum where we almost have to be thankful that these kids are being exploited so that we can at least keep tabs on them. As one commenter under my original video pointed out, as an abused kid, this kind of life makes child abuse so easy and very hard to track or report. But here comes a new challenger from Europe, an account called Wild Family Life with 3 children living in a tiny camper with their mom, her boyfriend, and her ex-husband. Trigger warning, white people with dreadlocks ahead. Have you ever watched a video that you can just smell? It's like a whole scroll and sniff experience. This is usually where I'd make a cuck chair joke, but there doesn't appear to be enough room for one. Whoa, too wild, guys, too wild. We don't want to get demonetized. Again. Speaking of money.
Yeah, how do we get money for food, gasoline, and everything else we need for a living? We work online. We work with Instagram. We work with YouTube. The thing is, we were street artists before. We did big bubbles for children on the street. We earned good money with that. But then Corona came, and then you couldn't be on the streets anymore. So we started Instagram and YouTube. For some reason, it started to work, which I'm very thankful for.
You see, this is why so many of these families continue to post despite overwhelmingly negative feedback. It's often the main source of income funding this lifestyle. After all, it's kind of hard to clock into a 9-to-5 if you're in a different time zone every other week. One thing all these van life families have in common, they all homeschool because logistically they have to. When the comment section inevitably has questions about how the children are taught, the parents often give concerningly vague answers.
The school thing, yeah, we follow some kind of curriculum. Like we have this app.
Oh, thank goodness. I was beginning to think that your children's education was being neglected. But then you mentioned the app.
I set their times each day. They do that by themselves. There's nothing I have to do. They really take their devices by themselves, sit down and learn. And they can learn according to their interests. So they can always choose what they want to learn. They're not forced to follow a curriculum.
A lot of these parents stress the importance of self-directed and situational learning. But this is kind of code for I don't want to sit down with my kid and figure out how many apples Johnny has if he gives 2 away to Sally while we both cry from frustration.
Math is math. Math is math.
Our kids have never been to a school. We do something called unschooling, or road schooling, world schooling, homeschooling. The way this education works is when our kids are interested in something, like our son really wants to learn how to make games. He is in a class to learn about coding for games like Minecraft.
Taking your kids' interests into account is great, but you're a parent, so you have to be the bad guy and provide them with structure too. Most kids are not going to naturally love learning fractions. And if they do, they're a weird, nerdy little kid, and you need to bully them. Look, if they're not going to go to public school, they have a lot of peer pressure to catch up on, okay? Ops are crucial for developing social awareness. Am I allowed to say ops? Am I too old or too white? Or both? Comment down below. At this point, a lot of YouTubers have made videos on this topic, and a lot of them took a very strong stance against the entire concept of homeschooling, implying that anyone who is homeschooled just turns into a total freak, which, as someone who is homeschooled, I take offense. Because they're right. But counterpoint, though this does not extend to our European friends, the US public school system can kind of suck. It often, especially in low-income areas, fails to set students up for success, ignoring individual strengths and weaknesses, funneling everyone through the same gauntlet of standardized testing into the workforce like so many cows shoved through a chute, and often facing the same fate of devoting their lives to making hamburgers. That is, of course, if they manage to not get shot before their high school graduation. It's a system that certainly does not provide enough support for neurodivergent children or children with disabilities. I think preventing these children especially from learning in an environment that can be catered around their specific needs would be doing them a massive disservice. The Department of Education is probably going to be defunded soon because of, reasons, when teachers have already been fleeing to other occupations, so we can safely predict that these problems are only going to get worse, and private schools are not an alternative alternative that the average family can afford. But there is definitely a layer beyond these reasonable fears motivating these van life parents. Strong religious influences fostering distrust in all social programs and a rejection of community outside of the immediate family unit, a preference for natural living and tradition over modern science, all of these crunchy beliefs coming together to make the perfect trail mix for a life that takes that one Rascal Flatts song a little too seriously. I've witnessed the full spectrum of homeschooling outcomes, okay? You can consider me an expert. I've seen homeschooled kids who have excelled in life despite never being allowed to watch SpongeBob. And I've seen homeschooled kids who could have really used just a couple episodes of SpongeBob.
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
Here in the US, laws surrounding homeschooling vary drastically by state. That's the weird little loophole these van life families have discovered.
We really love the homeschool laws. In New Mexico, that was definitely what drew us here over, say, Southern Colorado.
For example, Pennsylvania requires that parents submit documentation yearly to ensure that they're upholding a certain standard of education, whereas in my home state, you could teach your kids that 1 + 1 = 3, and they wouldn't know any better until those college rejection letters started filling the mailbox. I would never advocate for completely banning homeschooling the way countries like Germany or Greece or the Netherlands have, but considering that full-time van life families like this think going to a science museum counts as studying and a tiny fold-out table is sufficient space to do homework, there definitely is a need for more regulation.
Please let me have a basic education.
One of the most extreme cases that I covered was the Happy Caravan, a family of 12 living in a 30-foot trailer with so little space, some of the children had to sleep on the floor. This situation thankfully only lasted for 2 months while the family was transitioning from San Diego to San Francisco, but if I had been forced to sleep like Saddam Hussein hiding foot to face with my siblings for 2 months, the weakest ones would not have survived the journey. The Happy Caravan is now a family of 13. Yep, they spawned in another one, living in New York, where 2 of their children attend Juilliard and 1 of them attends the Manhattan School of Music. This seems to be the brand-friendly, predetermined route that the parents have chosen for their kids, with their quest markers set at birth to stringed instruments and prestigious performing arts colleges. I mean, come on. You're telling me not one of these kids wanted to pick up the bassoon or something? You might be thinking to yourself, how can children in such a large family get all of the resources they need for healthy development? And the answer is they're probably not. I don't know the Delamont family personally, so maybe they are just built different. But I was raised around a lot of families who believed that every baby was a blessing from God, even if God forgot to also bless them with the means to care for that baby, cranking out kids like condoms were forbidden in a secret 11th commandment that broke off the bottom of one of the tablets when Moses stubbed his toe coming down Mount Sinai. From what I've seen, the older children in these families are often so burdened with parental duties that they miss out on their own childhoods, while space, privacy, attention, and sometimes even food have to be rationed. Though they don't live in a van anymore, the apartment is still very crowded, with the kids stacked up in colorless IKEA showrooms with fold-out bunk beds. In fact, a lot of very well-known full-time van life accounts have abruptly quit, almost as if it's not sustainable or something.
A lot of things have changed, a lot of things happened. We're not living in a camper anymore. We're living in Airbnbs and stuff like that.
It's gone. It's gone. The whole season of our life is gone.
But as these accounts slowly run out of gas, concern has started to shift. Couples proudly posting their parenting failures to TikTok is a widespread issue both on and off the road. One family in particular has raked in millions of views for all the wrong reasons.
An account under the username Resilient Jenkins features a family of 6 going on 7 in a 1-bedroom apartment. After multiple posts begging her viewers to make her videos go viral so that her husband could, quote, hump away to give her more babies, Stephanie Jenkins got her wish. But in the way a mean-spirited genie might grant it. The account did go viral after TikTok users realized that while the 4 children were sleeping on mattresses in the living room with a blanket nailed over the front window, the parents were enjoying the privacy of the only bedroom, comfortably furnished, with a PS5 and flat-screen TV for dad. Viewers were even more outraged when they realized that the husband, Andrew Jenkins, had another child he'd abandoned from a previous relationship.
Let's address the child support thing.
Child support? Okay. The child support and child. I have the one other child, Anthony. I've been paying child support via garnishments ever since I can remember.
Hey man, how about we put the controller down and 360 no-scope some financial responsibility? How about we get the high score on being a father to those kids? But with the floods of negativity came opportunity that the parents quickly took advantage of. The kid situation did begin to improve, but only because viewers bought gifts from the family's Amazon wish list. This didn't stop Andrew from taking credit for the shoes strangers bought for his children, of course, while Stephanie praised him for being such a good, hard-working father. But since your husband is just working so many hours and breaking his brain to calculate the needs of his children, let me simplify the equation for y'all real quick. Poverty doesn't make you a bad parent, but your priorities do. And it's very clear from what you've shared with the public that you have prioritized your wants over your children's needs over and over and over and over again. Getting pregnant when you can't even take care of the children you already have, bouncing between side hustles instead of getting a stable job, buying pets when your children are sleeping on the floor. Every day those cats are in that cramped apartment is a day that you've actively chosen to compromise your children's well-being by giving up space, money, and cleanliness to animals that you're not even properly taking care of. Resilient is the best word to describe what your children will have to be after the way you have failed them. But countless comments later, the Jenkins have responded to criticism the same way every single family we've covered has, by refusing to take any accountability and accusing viewers of being #haters.
I never took nobody's viral moment to try to get my own, especially not slandering their name. But go ahead, keep on posting your updates about my family and building your content and all your base of your followers off my back. Go ahead. Now low-key try to put a snake between me and my man, but we step on that thing's head together. I talked some shish about my family in previous videos, but we have our ups and downs like any family do. But when it comes down to it, I know they have my back.
I think she cycled through, what, 3 different accents in that clip? Is there also a dialect coach on your Amazon wish list? But as Stephanie continues to milk money from TikTok Shop, viewership has already started to dwindle. You see, I'm way behind everyone else. They've all done their TikTok stitches and video essays already. They've moved on to the newest parental pariah, Nurse Hannah, who became the center of controversy after she filmed the 17 dirty diapers left around her house.
Let's pick up all the dirty diapers I have lying around my house right now. So I'm counting just 4 diapers right here on the coffee table.
Found another one on the couch. Oh, found 2 more. Okay, so right away I'm seeing 1, 2, 3 diapers. That's 8, 9, 10. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
I think if I counted right, that's 17 diapers lying around my house. No wonder my house freaking stinks right now.
After millions of views, the 17 diapers video brought her all the way to New York to speak on a talk show, and she was very optimistic that she could get even more business opportunities out of it.
I am currently in New York City because of 17 diapers. I am now known as the 17 diaper mom. That's probably gonna follow me forever. I was on a talk show yesterday. That's insane. That's freaking insane. But I want to take it kind of to the next level.
She was the realistic mom rep that so many women wanted. But as Hannah shared more about her family, it quickly became clear that she was not quite as relatable as her audience thought.
Feels like 8 degrees. And we're venturing out of the house with 2 kids. It turned winter in like 0.2 days and this kid doesn't have a big jacket, so I need to find him a big jacket. I'm sorry, but I can't spend $35 on a toddler jacket. I don't spend $20 on clothes for myself. Why would I spend $20 on? I'm not changing my kid's diaper when they pee. I've never done that. Do you know how expensive diapers are? If you bite, I'm gonna bite you. Not hard, but like enough that like, hey, that doesn't feel good.
Her refusal to provide necessary care, the aggressive way she handles her children, and the multiple clips of her oldest flinching away from his own parents indicates problems far worse than 17 diapers, with commenters even comparing her to ex-family vlogger
Ruby Frankie is absolutely comical. It's hilarious, really. We live in a world nowadays where people will turn nothing into something.
But after a while, people are going to get bored of her too and move on to someone else with no lessons learned and nothing changed. When posting child neglect results in being rewarded with gifts, money, and attention, how can we expect anything different? I mean, Hannah literally got verified by TikTok because she was raking in so many views. I've been making content for that platform for years. Whose child do I have to neglect to get my verification badge, TikTok? There will always be Nurse Hannahs. There will always be Jenkins, and there will always be van life parents. And right now, with the way the internet works, they're incentivized to get worse, not better. So what do we do? Do we keep responding to this type of content, knowing that the parents profit from it? Do we ignore and keep scrolling, leaving these kids to their fate? Do we appeal to available government services, despite the fact that they so often mishandle these cases and might put the children in a worse situation? It's fun to call out wannabe influencer parents, to make jokes about how selfish and delusional they are. I felt like a real hero after I put out my first video, as if I'd somehow saved these kids by writing snarky jokes in my bedroom. It's a lot less fun to acknowledge that countless children who live in your neighborhood, who go to your school, who you see every day are mistreated in vans, apartments, and houses all over the world, who don't have enough space, who don't have enough food, who don't have enough love in their lives. It's a lot harder to make jokes about that. You can't fix that by leaving a comment under a TikTok you don't like. You can't fix that by making a video essay. I've been working on this video on and off for the past year, and I'm still not happy with it because I don't have an answer, and I definitely don't feel like a hero. I just feel really frustrated and helpless. But what I can do right now is put some resources in the description that I've been looking into, and all I can ask is that we just keep an eye out for the kids around us that might not be having a very good Christmas this year.
Hey, where did everybody go?